Electric car sales, they're definitely helped a little bit by the generous incentives. $7,500, that's a lot of money. Although, to be fair, I mean, there's a lot of models that don't qualify, but I think it's a good thing. And I've said this for a while. I know a lot of people unsubscribed when I first said this. I said the EV incentives in the US are a great plan, and they are necessary to combat China's dominance. You know, China was just destroying the global car market 2 years ago when I was talking about this a lot. I was really having a look at the numbers, and it was evident that China was going to take a huge sector of the market worldwide and start to actually just crush legacy automakers, which was why the Biden administration's decision to incentivize new technology, solar and electric cars, in my opinion, was the right one. But the Republicans, they're saying, you know what? It's diabolical. It benefits wealthiest of Americans and just costs hardworking American taxpayers billions of dollars. Working families in Wyoming shouldn't be footing the bill for the luxuries of Biden's climate elitists. So if you bought an electric car, whether that be a Tesla Model Y or a Chevy Bolt EUV, then you are one of the climate elitists, say Republicans. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Now, it's worth pointing out the insanity of that quote I just shared with you, which actually came from Republican Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming. Now, he has a US Senate bill which is seeking to completely end tax credits in the US. Barrasso's bill is called the Eliminating Lavish Incentives to Electric Elite Vehicles Act. And it would eviscerate every American incentive driving EV adoption over the past 18 months. It would repeal, so you'd have to pay back, if you got an incentive for buying an EV, you'd have to pay back the $7,500 credit, and all new credits would, of course, be cancelled as well. Federal incentives for DC fast chargers, they would be ended. Any tax credits for used EVs, so if you've got a used EV and you've got a tax credit, you have to pay that back. And he would close the leasing loophole that applies to that tax credit, even if the car is not manufactured in North America. I agree with him on that. I'm actually with him on that little bit. They should be manufactured in the United States or Canada. Outside of there, I don't agree with these loopholes for cars that are made in Japan and other countries. Anyway, that loophole has driven significant EV leasing growth, including from brands like Hyundai and Kia. Now, he went on to say the electric vehicle tax credit benefits the wealthiest of Americans and costs hardworking American taxpayers billions of dollars. The federal government has no business pushing Americans into expensive electric cars that they don't want or can't afford. Now, I should point out, electric cars have never been cheaper. The average cost of an electric car is about 4% more than the average cost of vehicle sales, period, in America. So 4%. Not exactly expensive, if you ask me. I mean, the average vehicle sold, electric vehicle sold, is actually what, a $45,000 Tesla Model Y or a $40,000 Tesla Model 3. That's pretty much the average. I mean, they're making up more than 50% of sales. So I wouldn't exactly call that elitist. I'd say that's just the average working man. That's the kind of car that they can afford. Anyway, what EVs actually do is they're making EVs more affordable. So if people were so rich, they wouldn't need this and they wouldn't use it, because that's the whole point, right? You don't qualify if you make more than $150,000. So you only qualify if you're basically making an average salary. That's the whole point. You make more than $150,000 or more than $250,000 for a household, you don't get it. So you're not exactly rich, are you? If you're making less than that figure. I mean, you're doing all right, but you're not rich. Co-sponsors of this legislation include US Senators Mike Braun, Shelley Moore Capito, Tom Cotton, Kevin Kramer, Steve Daines, Joni Ernst, John Hoeven, James Langford, Mike Lee, Cynthia Lummis, Roger Marshall, Pete Ricketts, Jim Risch, Mike Rounds, Marco Rubio, Eric Schmidt, Rick Scott, and John Thune. Now, I hope I pronounced some of your names completely incorrectly, because you're a bunch of Muppets. Anyway, besides all of them being members of Biden's opposition party, you may notice that none of those states are hosts to any electric vehicle manufacturing. So, the states that have electric vehicle manufacturing or battery manufacturing, they well, they're nowhere to be seen on this list. They're not in support of cancelling Biden's EV plan or Biden's clean air plan. In fact, with the sole exception of Missouri, Kansas, and Indiana, none of the co-sponsor states even make cars at all, period. Now, the bill's co-sponsors also don't include any senators from Texas, where Tesla's Austin Gigafactory is, or Tennessee, home to the Volkswagen ID4 and Nissan EVs, or South Carolina, home to BMW in the US, or Alabama, where Mercedes electric SUVs are built. All of these are Republican, conservative, red states with Republican senators. So in other words, these guys missed out on manufacturing and they're all spitting the dummy. Anyway, that's what I think. Guys, this bill is unlikely to pass, let alone get to President Joe Biden's desk. But looking at who sponsors it, it shows you how politics work. And it's really kind of sad. Like, looking at this kind of stuff, it's sad that these guys can't see the bigger picture. They can't see that American manufacturing would be dead in the water when it comes to the entire automotive industry. If America was to lose its automotive industry, it would lose a massive percentage of its actual GDP. Huge percentage. It is so important to the American economy to not lose the automotive industry. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.